Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to be flying out the C.205 Serie 3, which sits at 4.7 in the Italian tech tree. Now, the C.205 and just the Italian planes in general don't really get much attention, but a lot of their aircraft are actually really fun to fly, including this thing. Now, the Serie 3 used to be 3.7 way back, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I think Adam the Engineer made a video on it, and even though it is pretty outdated, I would still recommend that you guys go check it out, just to see how it used to fly. But anyways, the C.205 is actually pretty good, even though it has been pretty heavily nerfed by Gaijin. Over the past couple of years, the flight model has been nerfed, making it turn worse. The 20mm MG151s have been nerfed multiple times, and the BR of the Serie 3 has gone up from 3.7 all the way to 4.7. So because of all these nerfs, I never really looked at this thing, but recently I gave it a shot and decided to stock grind this because a friend recommended me to, and here we are. After playing 25 games or so with this thing, I can say that this plane, the Serie 3, is actually a pretty good plane at 4.7, and it is fun to fly. Moving on to the performance, this thing feels as if you mixed a G55 and a BF109 with each other. Compared to the G55, it trades some turn rate for some extra speed and energy retention, and the weird thing is, though, how I fly it. I actually fly this thing pretty similar to how I fly a Focke-Wulf 190. The good climb allows me to get above most enemies, and even though its roll and rudder do compress a bit, it is still manageable at high speeds. I often end up diving in and trying to get as many kills as possible in a short time before just kind of leaving, and the guns on this thing allow me to do so. It has a very nice armament consisting of 2 MG151 20mm and 2 Beretta 50 cals, which they do pretty good damage, and they also come with a lot of ammo, which most Italian planes do, but the armament overall is pretty good. The Serie 3 also has a 109 G2 engine in it, so it performs well at altitude, but it also overheats pretty badly, especially if you aren't using MEC. So using MEC on this plane is pretty important. I'll put that up on the screen in a second. Anyways, now in dogfights, I try and avoid these actually because the C.205 has pretty average turn rate, and since you also have pretty decent energy retention, you actually get outturned by quite a few American planes that can just pull inside of your own turning radius because they have poor MER. And of course, Spitfires are dangerous, but the C.205 is fast enough to run away and start boom and zooming them. I would say your biggest enemy in the C.205 is going to be Yaks, especially the Yak 3, which is just a common enemy to everything at this point. Yak 3s do everything well, they're faster than you, they climb with you, they have better MER, they turn with you, you know the rest. The best thing you can do against Yaks is to fight them at high altitude or just catch them off guard by third partying them. But besides that, there's not much you can do. So in this video, there are going to be 4 games. The first one is a 5-kill game, and the last 3 are all 7-kill games. You'll notice I'm using full stealth belts, by the way, and to be honest, I actually had trouble aiming the guns on this thing until I made that switch. So feel free to try whatever belts, whether that's the air targets or stealth like me. Also, I'm not a big fan of the other C.205 at 4.7, the N2, because the amount of performance that you sacrifice is not enough for only one extra 20mm at the same BR. So before we move on, I'm going to ask you guys to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. I'm only 60 away from hitting 3,000 subscribers, and it would be really cool if I were to hit that before the end of the year. Thanks guys, and let's hop into it. So I actually added an extra game in here. This is a 7-kill game, but it's just a really quick one where I think I got 6 kills in less than 90 seconds. It was pretty insane. So first of all, we start off by going for this A6M3 that's on my teammate's tail. He gets pretty much incinerated, and now there's a Key 100 on my 6. However, I am going to be faster than him, and I don't really need to worry about him. I just kind of need to set him up for my teammate Circa back there. And so I'm just kind of turning into him, making it look like he can get a shot at me. However, the Key 100 actually notices that Circa's on his tail. He turns into him, dodges him. However, he's going to allow me to get on his 6 now. And basically we're just going to take turns until he dies. And he's pretty slow right now. It's really easy to shoot him. He goes down, and we can now go down into the furball of enemies. And there are a lot of enemies down here, all low and slow, all ready for the pickings. I take the 109 out first, dodge the ME410, and I'm going to loop up and go for the Spitfire now. ME410 gets killed by Just Come and Book over there. Spitfire's down here. I get a nice little shot in his cockpit, pilot snipe him, and the BF109 also goes down in the background, giving me 3k. P63 comes in now. Luckily, I notice him before he actually hits me. Loop back over, and he's a bit too slow to follow me in this vertical here, so he can't really do much besides flat turn, and he also has to dodge the P61 here. So in that, he's not really paying attention to me. Gives me a nice broadside shot. He goes down, and now the last enemy in the area is the Key 43. I already have 5, and I want to get 6 really quickly. I go head on. Nice little shot, and he goes down. That's going to be 6 in probably less than 90 seconds. We now have a Focke-Wulf 190. This is probably about a couple of minutes after going towards the airfield. Taking a quick head on. Unfortunately, none of my rounds do enough damage to severely hinder him. However, it is a Focke-Wulf and it is an A4, so I'm going to pretty easily be able to turn with him. And there's not really much he can do because I'm also faster than him right now. He came out of a climb, I came out of a dive, and there's just not much he can do. That's 7, and that's going to be the end of game 1. Moving on to the second game, this is a 5-kill game, and we start off by going for the furball. The P-38 kind of leads us over here, that's what I was going for first, but since he is going away from me, I'm actually going to get to the enemies that are inside of the furball first. I'm kind of looking at the Spitfire and the 109, however the M1K is the one who's going head on with me, so I'm going to take it with him. I have a pretty good armament for this, and I'm going to dodge to the left because there's also a 190 to my right that's kind of pitching in for the head on as well. J21 pitches up for me. I'm just going to attempt to dodge him because he's the only one who's really dangerous right now. He has a very good armament, and I don't really want to get hit by that. So all I really have to do is just spiral up. He's not fast enough. His engine's not good enough at this altitude. So he eventually stalls out. I switch off of the 109 because my teammate has him. Katusha gets the kill on him, and I can now just go for this J21 because there's not really any enemies around besides this guy. So I'm just kind of free to kill him. He didn't dive away. He was too slow to dodge, and that's what you get. So I'm just going to extend towards the enemies to the right here. And my main priority right now is the Key 61. However, my teammate to the left, Thelonious, does say he needs help with the Spitfire and 190. So as soon as I turn around, however, the Key 61 is coming straight at me, and he just came out of a dive. So it is a bit of an issue. However, I am still going to be fast enough to extend away, and as well as kill the Spitfire on my way out of there. So the Spitfire goes down, and now all I really have to do is just extend away from the Key 61, wait for Katusha, who's coming in from the right over here, to kill the Key 61. And yeah, eventually he does. There he goes. And that's pretty much all the enemies in this area, so I'm just going to fast forward this this part of the video, because I'm just kind of I'm not really doing anything, I'm just chasing the 2 enemies over there that are going towards their base. Somebody notices me in the chat. If you're watching this, hello YouTube, I guess. And yeah, not much else is to be said. Katusha is getting tracked by P-38, who's pretty far behind him. However, he is still a bit of a threat. Thelonious says he's going to go for the Key 61, who's further away because he is faster than me, so he leaves the Focke-Wulf to me. Focke-Wulf goes down. He's way too slow to dodge. He also probably didn't see me there. And the C.205 actually turns pretty well at high speed. Its elevator doesn't really compress. It's pretty similar to the G55 in a sense, as its elevator doesn't really block up that much. So you're able to pull some pretty funny maneuvers at high speed, considering this thing also does have a pretty good MER. It's nothing like super special, but it is better than average. Anyways, we killed that P-38 that was on Katusha. Good bait by him. And yeah, eventually the Wyvern will turn around. I'm just kind of fast forwarding this because I wanted to talk about the C.205's energy retention. Because the C.205, again, it is slightly better than average with the MER, which kind of allows some planes to just cut inside of your loop. As I said in the intro, like a lot of American planes, even the Wyvern can do this, because if you don't cut your throttle in a turn, then a lot of people will just end up behind you. And the turn, it's pretty average. It's just not good enough to get away from a lot of things. Anyways, we're going to move on to match 3. This was another 7-kill game, and it was pretty chaotic. I was constantly fighting, and first of all, we are going to go for this A7M1, who's not really paying attention to me, which is a good thing, because A7M1s are very, very annoying to deal with in the C.205. They're 0.3 BR higher than you, yet they do everything better than you. So you have to be really, really careful with how you engage them. Anyways, that Yak 3 gets the 190 out of the game to the left, so I'm just going to extend towards the middle of the map where all of these other Focke-Wulfs are. This is actually a 190C, so you don't really see many of these around. They're basically a Focke-Wulf that's supposed to be really good at high altitude, but they're a lot slower at low altitude and medium altitudes, and they actually turn pretty well for Focke-Wulfs. So you do have to be a bit careful with them. They can catch people off guard if you don't really know what they are, and yeah, they're pretty rare. Anyways, we end up killing that Focke-Wulf A8, and we are now going to try and help Circo over here with the Spitfire. Just spraying a bunch of ammo to get him off his tail. And eventually, the Spitfire will go down. He's just not... I'm too close on his 6 for him to really be able to get away. I loop back over after killing the Spitfire, and I'm just kind of looking for targets right now. So This 190 is the closest to me, and he's the most opportune because he is also the highest in the area. So I'm just going to go for him right now. It is a Dora. However, it's not really going to matter since he can't get away from me. I'm coming out of dive. I'm just much faster than him, and eventually some of my rounds will hit home. He goes down, and now again I'm just looking for enemies. J2M5 is overhead, and a J2M5 that is higher than you like this is pretty dangerous. However, this Yak 3 is getting attacked, and I'm close enough to where I can help this Yak 3. So my main goal is to try and save my teammate here. Unfortunately, the J2M actually looks like he sees me there. He dodges pretty well, and I'm just going to loop under. And there's actually another J2M in front of me, to J2M4 Kai. Not a very good plane, so I go head on with him. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out which target is the best to go for. There are 2 J2Ms on this Yak 3 now, and there's soon to be another Focke-Wulf who's also coming in from higher up. I just spray at this J2M4 because he is the closest to me. I want him out of the match. I can't really go for that J2M5 just in case the Focke-Wulf actually switches targets to me. So I'm just going to spray. I actually end up hitting the Focke-Wulf there, and unfortunately I can't save my teammate. However, the J2M is not really paying attention to what's behind him. I get an easy shot on him, and now I could just chase this Focke-Wulf for a while. And the thing about these 12.7s is they actually reach pretty far, so some of these shots actually, when the enemy is trying to run away from you, they're pretty useful in just tap firing like that from upwards of a kilometer almost. But there's not really any chance I'm going to be catching this Focke-Wulf, even though it isn't an Anton, an F8. There's just, the C.205 just isn't fast enough at these altitudes. Maybe at like 5,000 or 6,000 meters I could catch him, but it's just a waste of time to go for him right now. So instead of going for the guy who's just running away, I'm actually going to go for the Focke-Wulf who's below me. And this actually kind of baits the other Focke-Wulf to come after me right now. So my plan is now to reverse him, basically, because he is going to be coming out of the dive. He's going to be faster than me. I'm going to dive to pick up a bit of speed, turn under him, and then turn back outside, around, and eventually, since he is going a bit faster than me, he is going to end up in front of me. He does just so. I get a nice little crit, and he's not really fast enough to get away from me here. His wingtip comes off. I just spray with a couple of 50 cals because I actually don't have that many 20 mils left, and he goes down. That's going to be 6. The Tempest is going to go down by my teammate over there, and my last 2 enemies in the area are two guys in the airfield, one 190 F8 and an A7M. And unfortunately, I can't really get my guns on the A7M1 without him head-onning me, or actually my rudder ended up compressing. Whoops. But my mistake here was actually not turning back into the A7M1 immediately. It was going for that Focke-Wulf. So I end up getting 7, but now I'm kind of locked in this dogfight with the A7M1. And I'm going to be able to energy trap him once here before he eventually gets enough energy equalization to just end up killing me. So this is my one chance, and you're going to see how badly the C.205 just performs at really, really low speeds. Its airframe is super unstable. Unfortunately, I'm going a bit too fast to actually cut into his loop here, and that was basically my only chance left. This guy has such a low stall speed compared to me, and you're going to see there, my plane just does, I don't even know, it just does whatever it wants. My wing is just going wherever it wants to. I have no control over that, and that's just kind of what happens if you get into low speed dogfights with the C.205. And this guy can just keep putting his nose up, nothing I can do, and eventually I'm going to go down. So I flip back over, and yeah, I get my wing one shot off. I was pretty salty about that. I should have gotten 8 that game, but I did make a tiny mistake where I should have gone for the A7M first. Anyways, moving on to the next game. This is another 7-kill game. Starts off by me killing this A6M6. He wasn't really paying attention, and I now can go for this Key 84, who's also not really paying attention. This was a dusk map, so the spotting system is a bit gimped. But anyways, after getting 2 kills, I go for this P51. I'm still going pretty fast here, so after the merge I can easily dodge and go upwards. P51 can either follow me and die, or start flat turning and die, because I just have so much more speed than him that he's not really going to be able to do much. He actually chooses to go vertical here, so I'm just going to do a low yo-yo and cut inside of his turn. He's not really fast enough to be able to turn around instantly, and he ends up getting put through my guns. He goes down. And I can now go for this Corsair, who I actually can't see through the clouds, but he is actually severely damaged, and in a flat spin, he just jays out there. And there isn't really anyone in the immediate vicinity, so I'm just going to kind of make my way north over towards the J2M, the A6M5s, and just look for the target that is most opportune. So I'm going to go for this A6M5. The A6M6 to my left actually is actually pitching up for me. However, I'm pretty confident that he can't really hit me from here, and I want to deal with this A6M5 before he kind of turns around. And Circa says he'll kill the A6M6 who's pitching up for me. He does just that. I go for the J2M2 now, who's the last enemy in the area. I get a crit. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for a kill shot, and there are like a million other teammates on him. So in retrospect, I should have just left this guy because he was bound to just die before I could get another shot on him. I actually end up pilot sniping him after he gets shot down by the LA7, so it would have been 5, but it wasn't. Anyways, we're going to move on to just a head-on with the VB10. He was ground pounding earlier, and this plane actually has a pretty good armament for head-ons. Even though the guns are pretty slow, they do just enough damage, and I also have stealth rounds on, so the VB10 kind of thinks he could win that head-on because, oh, it's a C.205. He doesn't really have good guns or whatever. However, you can kind of catch people off guard with this. It is an Italian plane as well, so C.205s have that kind of inherent, like, non-knowledge, I guess, of people not knowing what this plane is. So a lot of people can be caught off guard by the performance of this thing. And that's how a lot of Italian planes are. Anyways, those last 2 kills were just 2 bomber kills. Not really a big deal to talk about. But yeah, this one is a 6-kill game. I don't know if I mentioned this one either, but yeah, this one is a 6-kill game where I actually don't have the best aim. This 109 was like not even dodging me, and I was kind of concerned if he would pitch in for the last second. He does, but a lot later than I think. I underlead on that 109. I don't get the kill. I'm going for this 190 now. He's completely broadside to me, and my guns just end up sparking, and right now I'm crashing out. I'm really mad at myself. I remember, I think I yelled during this match because I get a firing solution on 3 enemies and none of them go down, and now I have like 5 enemies behind me. So it is a pretty big issue. Luckily, I am going to be able to get away from these guys because the C.205 has a pretty nice rip speed. Like it goes, I think it goes 810 before it redlines, which is a nice thing to have on a slow plane, because even faster planes that have less rip speed than you can actually get away from in a dive, as long as you have enough altitude. So I'm going 700, kind of just looking for enemies that are on the exit out. I can go for this Focke-Wulf first. Nice little shot there. He gets pilot sniped, and I'm just going to keep extending away. And the SB2C is also on my flight path out, so I'm just going to take him out before I reclimb, and that's going to be 2 kills. Unfortunately, it wasn't like 5 or anything. And yeah, this is just one of those games where your aim is off, or the guns don't work, or any one of those things that just kind of prevents you from one-shotting enemies. I missed the 109 there because of poor aim. It was a bit of an odd angle that he was coming at me at, so I end up not getting the kill on him. However, the Spitfire is completely stalled out. Pretty easy shot for him, and he ends up going down. Now I'm just going to extend away. I'm actually going to go for the 109 to the right. And yeah, after chasing him for a while, eventually I do start catching him because he is kind of maneuvering a bit weird. So he is just going to turn into me. Before I go for him, I'm just making sure there's no enemies around, and eventually he's just going to give me a full broadside. He goes down, and I can now extend towards the A6M3 and the 109 that just died to my teammate. And the A6M3 is going to kill the BTD there, and the P47 is going to have a really hard time dealing with the A6M3, so I'm just kind of here for support. I think the A6M3 actually rips his flaps there, but even if the A6M3 is damaged, the P47N is just not going to be able to turn with him. As you can see, A6M3 is completely out-turning him. I'm going to take a little head-on with him. Unfortunately, my guns don't do enough damage. I don't know if I hit enough shells there. But again, it's just really bad aim from me. But this A6M3 is doing a wide enough loop to allow me to kind of cut inside of him here. So I'm going to get a shot. His tail goes flying off. That's going to be 5. And after a lot of looking, that 109 ends up dying, so after a while looking, I end up just activating an Avenger, getting the last guy to appear, and he actually kind of snuck under me while I was looking at their airfield, so I end up going back towards the middle of the map. Spitfire is not paying attention, and he goes down. That's going to be 6, and that's going to be the end of the game. And the last game is another 7-kill game, and this one's kind of boring. It's just me flying around killing enemies that aren't really paying attention, but it is a 7-kill game. I figured I'd show it. So first we start off by heading a VB10, and again, a lot of people don't expect you to win head-ons like these. So planes that are inherently good at head-ons will take them with you, and that's another reason why I use stealth rounds, because people don't really break off of head-ons, and that's kind of a thing I do with a lot of aircraft actually. And yeah, usually stealth rounds have a good HE fill-in. Anyways, I killed this P-51D that was on my teammate. His tail gets blown completely off, so I don't really need to keep shooting at him. And now I'm just going to look for any enemies in the area that are at least opportune enough to go after. So there's a P-51 down here and a Key-61. My teammate says he wants the P-51. I'm fine with going for the Key-61, because I just have a feeling that he's going to pitch up right in front of my guns. He actually ends up doing just that. Circa gets the P-51. I kill this guy. Again, he just pitched up right in front of my guns. That's going to be 3. The P-51 goes down in the background. And now I'm just kind of extending towards my teammate, who unfortunately died before I could get here. However, he does end up bringing one of them down with him. So A6M5, pretty much out of energy. There's not really much he can do besides turn under me. However, he actually just didn't see me there. So it's a pretty free kill. And now I'm just going to reclimb. A6M5 comes down from the heavens and loses all of his energy going for this Yak-3T. And he turns basically right in front of me, gives me a nice shot. His wing gets blown off, excuse me. He goes flying into a flat spin, and I'm now just going to reclimb again. And yeah, just kind of wait for this VB10 to make a move. And eventually he will. He's going to go for my teammate Circa here. So I tell Circa to kind of break left towards me, which will possibly, if the VB10 at least follows him, it will give me a shot. So unfortunately the VB10 actually doesn't follow him. And I'm just going to be spraying a bunch of my MGs. Unfortunately, he's just too far away. So eventually, he will turn back around, but I just got to wait because I'm just not fast enough to catch him. VB10C ends up diving on me. And I think at this point he got a bit impatient, so I end up setting up for a reversal. I dodge his guns. I loop back in front of him. And since he's faster than me, he's going to end up in front of me. And yeah, there's not much he can do because I also climb better than him. So the second he takes this vertical, it's just over for him. He goes down. That's going to be 6. And the last enemy, after a couple minutes of flying around, there is a P-61 who basically is AFK. So that's going to be a pretty fun, pretty easy kill. I actually blow his wingtip off in the head-on. And yeah, there's not much he can do against 2 single-engine fighters like this. So I gotta make sure I finish him off before my teammate steals it from me. he was joking that he was gonna steal it. But yeah, anyways, that's going to be the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.